Adam from Indiana. Sam, this is petty, but when you debated Crowder, he claimed that he didn't owe you anything because he was basically a big shot and you are nobody's small fry. Since he has only 1.3 million subs on Rumble, does that mean he's in your follower range and he must concede that you exist? I mean, it's an interesting theory.
How many do we have?
What is our numbers on Rumble?
No, our numbers on YouTube. This is our medium of choice. So that's what we got to compare it to, right?
We're like close to 1.3, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit less.
That's very comparable.
On Rumble, we do get 80 comments an hour calling us libcucks, though. So
on Rumble.
On Rumble, yeah.
Hey, do we go live on Rumble? Why not? It wouldn't be hard. Let's just do it.
They're not paying us, but yeah, sure.
I know they're not doing it. We do it as a free service.
Flood the zone.
And in fact, when we put that in, let's do that. We will set up a special Rumble only call-in number, 646-257-3920. Will be the Rumble call-in number.
That's a good idea.
This way everybody can be in on the joke before we get on over there. I think it'd be fun, actually, some of the callers we might get from Rumble. Cosmopolitics, good news. Disney is suing DeSantis. Yes, we saw that. That just broke, I guess. Fun. They have some deep pockets, too, I would imagine. Bradley Fan Club. Some posters in Discord are dreading the more Crowder bullying. They are wrong. Love the show. I honestly will welcome anybody who wants to have a serious conversation about whether it's inappropriate for us to do what we're doing, discussing Crowder's divorce. Let me just open the door to that, and we'll get to the Candace Owens thing. One, I don't care about Steven Crowder's divorce. If I read in some gossip magazine Steven Crowder got divorced, I don't know that I would ever bring it up. Unless it was in the context of him talking about marriage and divorce. Now, of course, he's talked about divorce many, many times, particularly in the past 2 years, apparently, and has complained about things like no-fault divorce. He is the one, let's be clear here, who is using his divorce as a leverage tool on not just I've learned things in my divorce and blah, blah, blah. He's literally using his personal situation, his divorce, to argue that women in particular, but also, I guess theoretically men, should not be allowed to get a divorce.
Without proving harm.
Without proving harm or, a narrow definition of harm. Because I'm not convinced that Mrs. Crowder couldn't have proved harm. I mean,
yes, but and even we know that from the 50s and 60s that it was quite cumbersome and difficult to prove harm, which was why, women had to go to extreme lengths to get divorces back then. That's what Crowder wants to return to.
He's complaining that it was too easy for his ex-wife to exit their marriage. And
and
then he's bringing up all sorts of stuff, like claiming that that he's being blackmailed by this. And let's be clear. I also announced to our audience that I was getting divorced when I was getting divorced. There is, and I'll tell you something. If you ask me right now what's going to be cut from this show and what's going to be clipped on YouTube, I couldn't for the life of me give you an answer. The idea that I would have allowed anybody, and I have a vague notion of how to stop stuff from being clipped on the show, but we don't have a formal process for it. But I would not ever allow someone go make a video clip of when I'm talking about that I'm getting divorced. I introduced it to the audience because a lot of people, like I say, I've been on air for a long time. When I got divorced, when I got married, when both my kids were born, the audience was aware of it. But the idea that I would monetize it in the way that he did and weaponize it and have, videos rolling in about people like that supposedly were blackmailing him about it, that's on him.
Yeah.
I mean, besides when Benjamin did it. But
we didn't make like the first 15 minutes of a show one day, your set piece about your divorce. It was like mainly like before the fun happened. Like just FYI, everybody.
Yeah. And
also don't blame my kids. You stressed 8 times.
Here is Candace Owens responding to Steven Crowder's claim that she was blackmailing him, and I don't know. I mean, it's only fair we let Crowder have his say about it. Let's
both sides.
Yeah, both sides.
In certain circumstances,
Well, my children have a right to privacy.
he even sent me a retrospectively very flirty message thereafter on Instagram about how nice I looked on election night, even though I didn't respond to it. I found Hillary Crowder's Instagram account, and I looked to see, and it turned out that she didn't follow Steven Crowder, and that Steven Crowder didn't follow her. He didn't follow anybody in her family, and she wasn't following anybody in his family. That was my aha moment. Clearly, there was some sort of a separation. Now, I will not take that lightly, okay? I am not Hillary Crowder. I am not anybody in his family. I am not going to take somebody going onto his platform and alleging that I either harassed, threatened, or did anything that would put his children at risk. That is very serious stuff that he is saying. And so what I did this morning after this clip was sent to me is I contacted a defamation lawyer, and I am sending Steven Crowder a cease and desist. And I'm going to demand a full-throated retraction to the idea that Candace Owens threatened him or extorted him. And it seems to me, Steven, that you really, for whatever reason, want to insert me into this narrative. Like there is just something about me that you are hyper-focused on. And so I want to help you a bit. And really, I want to help your wife because you essentially just used your platform. Millions of people have access to your platform. She doesn't have the same, to insult her. You picked the wrong woman, okay? So here's what I would like to do. I would like to invite Hillary Crowder onto my platform because she doesn't have one and because her ex-husband apparently just used his to insult her, to say that he picked the wrong woman. I find that to be really despicable. So Hillary Crowder, if you are watching, you are more than welcome to come on my show and to talk about what's actually going on.
Let's go. I would love that. Honestly, I'd love to see it. Solidarity with other women.
So can you explain that clip a little bit to me? That was...
we should be clear. That was a
the
compilation
Surfs
put
filed
together by the Surfs of Candace Owens last night responding to Steven Crowder. Now, I know, Emma, you are enjoying this. This really, it pains me. I hate to see this type of dissension.
No, you hate to see two women teaming up.
You
hate to see
in other words, dissension.
I know. I honestly, I want to just sincerely put out there, I want to invite both Steven and Candace to come on the show and work this out. And if Hillary Crowder wants to come on, if she doesn't want to come on with Steven, I totally understand that. She can come on another time. Open invitation to all of them to come on. We can work this out. And also we'll have Dave Landau come on too and hear what he has to say about
Maybe Sven
this.
Computer. Let's get the whole game.
Yeah, we'll get let's and I would honestly just call on Steven Crowder to release his former employees from their non-disclosure agreements, which I think you made clear you thought were onerous in their existence when you had your problems with the Daily Wire. I just think it's time everybody come clean. Mm-hmm. And I'll come clean too about all the stuff in all the skeletons in my closet too. So this will be very, I think, therapeutic for all of us.
A lot of psychic damage must be going on in the Crowder sphere because like you mentioned, like Sven Computer out, Not Gay Jared out, Dave Landau now going on like Michael Malice saying he was censored and Crowder was threatened because he was...
Apparently Crowder has, according to Dave Landau, a button where it shines a light. If someone else is talking too much, Crowder, or being too funny or something, Crowder will press a button and a light will shine.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's more technologically advanced than like when you just throw stuff at us to get us to stop talking.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just like you got to do it really quick. You got to just like sort of like flick it like this. Like this
That's
is the way.
so funny.
This is the way I get Matt to stop talking.
Just like leaning on. I would love to know like when I'd love to know when Crowder's just leaning on that button, just like,
I wonder if he also had one that was like SOS, SOS.
You cut to Dave because I need to like stop hyperventilating.
Go to Dave, my holster slipped off.
But Emma was making this point yesterday, and I think it's it seems increasingly likely that there's stuff that Crowder is afraid is going to come out beyond this.
Yep.
Right? I mean, it's not like
This is
First of all, he mentions like I'm surprised nobody saw through it the way Candace Owens was hinting at. It's like, bro, that's not what people thought she was hinting at.
No, well,
was
that's the
divorce.
point. It's a limited hangout. I mean, I'm like, I can't. Of course, I can say this with confidence because there's always going to be more to the story when someone gets divorced, right? It's not just like that. This is over now, but there's more that he's hiding, obviously, and that's why he wants to say that it was just the divorce, not the details of the divorce that she was extorting me over. The divorce.
Yeah, and we got.
Let's be clear. She hadn't mentioned it, as far as I could tell, in like 2 or 3 months. Now that guy Owen Benjamin, also who used to work on the show, on the Crowder show, and he's a bit of an odd duck, to say the least.
Yeah.
I think some people suggest that
A racist duck.
well, yeah. You're working on Crowder's show. You are either sort of like, I don't know how to make this distinction. I don't know that we have the words to really make this distinction, but you're either somebody who is, really comfortable promoting racism, or really comfortable being around people who are promoting racism. And in both instances, I think it's fair to say that you're racist. I mean, look, we're all on some level, racist and practice white supremacy.
It's the culture we all sort of live in.
It is the sort of the waters that we swim in, and but there are some who are actively cheering this and have no lamentation about it, but think it's the way that things should be. And a lot of them have worked on Steven Crowder's show, or we should say a lot of the people who have worked on Steven Crowder's show feel that way. And but with that said, Owen Benjamin apparently had like outed Crowder's divorce like 2 days ago. Nobody would have known about it, it seems to me. And I don't know why he decided to attack Candace Owens about it. That's really interesting.
He could have just said like, okay, now that Benjamin said it, it's out there. I'm getting a divorce. We're keeping it private.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead we get 5 minutes of like, it's not my kid's fault. I picked wrong. The state of Texas is letting her do this, even though I would want to force her. Like, it's crazy.
Well, that part about the state of Texas is like, I said something on Twitter about, this is his MRA arc beginning, and people were like, well, hasn't he always been? And that's a fair point, right? He's always been a conservative, patriarchal, racist nut job. But there's like a new kind of ecosystem of like manosphere influencers in the Andrew Tate mold. And I think that's why Jordan Peterson got hired by the Daily Wire to be behind the paywall. It's the trans stuff too, but it's also like, I'm going to appeal to a certain alienated man who may not be having like a lot of intimacy and make them feel empowered in some way. And Crowder has been looking for his like next move for a while now.
Well, those guys can't fully like do the MRA thing because they're in marriages.
That too. Well, now he's free. He has editorial freedom now to be completely against like no fault divorce and making sure that women stay in marriages that might be abusive.
Yeah, it's no longer I waited to marriage and I'm so happy about it. It's the I picked wrong guy.
That was a fun read his Fox News op-ed from 2017 about why it was right for him to wait until marriage?
Maybe it helps with picking if you don't do that.
It might. You might know yourself a little more. Right. I picked wrong. Yeah.
Selection process.
That's because you had no...
effed up.
It's like, yeah. It's like pushing a button in the dark.